Hello and welcome to the release preview for the first release of 2017. Currently scheduled towards the end of week commencing the 17th of January, subject to final testing. Quite an extensive release this with quite a host of features and upgrades, so we'll just run through what's in it and then we'll have a look at some of these features for real. Quite a lot of them based on requests that we've received from consultants around usability. So the first thing that we've done is add a whole list of new fields to the person record, including a validation date and time. That's just currently used in the workbook file name, but ultimately that's something we might hook into a booking system. All of the fields that we've made available in the person record are now available within the email templates as well. Throughout the administration console, we've made the date and time formats consistent. They're all UTC, some just date, and some with hours and minutes depending on what the actual pages that you're looking at. We brought the workflow structure more in line with the actual product description, so it better aligns to assess and define, and we believe that is also more intuitive, the way that we've moved some of the items around. But again, all pretty straightforward, nothing, it's not a revolution there, but just a move in the right direction regarding usability. We've added the ability to see the dashboard as a cumulative view, so you can sort of keep an overall track on actions. A couple of other minor changes regarding sort of colors and such like. We've also added the survey reset to the activity tab, so that you can have an audit trail of anyone that resets surveys. And indeed, when surveys are reset, the auto reporting still kicks in. So when the next survey is completed, the report will be generated and sent. Where currently, if we've already sent one, that didn't happen. We've added some validation when creating jobs and roles, just prevent any duplications and such like. We'll have a look at that. One of the things that we'd noticed from a technical point of view, we were using browser pop-ups which allowed you to actually suppress messages. In some cases that wasn't appropriate, so we changed those dialogues now so that suppress option doesn't appear. Some enhancements that directly relate to the SkillsTx planner console. That's the console that the end users would use. So we've got some job and role management to make decisions around which jobs and roles are visible to users. We've got some controls around versions, just so that we don't have a version frenzy, and we've also now included the ability to deactivate an account in the console, which will then pop up a message in the planner to say that the account has been deactivated. And finally, we've made some pretty major back-end changes to the reporting. Previously, they used to use the direct results of surveys. Now they actually use some profile tables. It's not particularly relevant, other than the fact that we're now able to include version numbers within those reports, so that if people do upgrade their profile in the planner console, when you next run the report, it will actually reflect that version that they've created. Okay, so we'll have a look at the additional fields that we've added. So this is what they look like as substitution fields for the email template. You can see quite a long list there, things like territory, country code, business unit, etc. If you forget what the actual substitution name is, it's pretty straightforward. It's the name of the field in the person record, and if that name has got a space, you substitute that with an underscore. So country code in the person record becomes country underscore code with a dollar prefix and suffix, and that will then drop that into the email. Regarding date and time formats, just a couple of screenshots here. So you can see the email log at the top. That includes the hours and minutes. So just a more accurate log entry, and then the report queue and log also includes the time as well. So they're all DD, month, full year, and then hours and minutes. In some other places, we drop the hours and minutes. They're just not that relevant in some areas, but certainly where they're needed, we've included them. And this is a quick view of the new workforce structure. We've moved job role definition into its own workflow phase. Some of the icons have changed slightly, and we've also moved some of the reporting from the actual, from a phase at the end to actually be within the phase that it's most often used. So if you've selected define, the job role definition phase will be visible. If you didn't select it, just that one phase will be hidden, as of course it's not relevant in an assess. Right, let's flick across and have a look at the console for real. So here's the cumulative view of the dashboard. So the overview is now cumulative. So certainly in that initial phase within an assessment, you can actually see progress quite easily. Color coding now a little bit more relevant. Previously they were just used to differentiate, but the self-assessment actions are varying shades of blue, the validations green, and the job definitions orange. I've got the report generated in grey there, is that they're less relevant activities in the grand scheme of things. If we click across into the activity tab and I filter this on reset, for example, you now see that we can see that surveys have been reset and who the surveys were for. Subsequently, when those surveys are recompleted, I say the auto reporting will work as normal. Okay, if we go across into job role definition, we've added some checks and balances into the create job role list. So I'll just run through that quickly with you. Pretty straightforward. One of the problems that you could have had is if you created a list that had duplicate names. Previously the system would allow that, but then you'd have a bit of a challenge trying to work out which was which. So now, for example, if I try to add business analyst, tells me that job role already exists, and that's an example of the new HTML pop-up rather than using a browser pop-up. So all looks very similar. Okay, just wait for that to refresh, and we'll have a look at one of the other checks and balances that we've added to that particular page. One of the things, again, that we did allow, but would have caused confusion downstream, is you could have assigned an expert and a standard definer for each job, and then we wouldn't have known downstream which one took priority. So now, as soon as you've assigned one or other, an expert or a standard definer, you then cannot add any more. So you make your choice. Is it being defined with a longhand survey or a shorthand survey? And once you've selected, then the other option is removed. A pretty good safety check that, because as I say, if we had two people creating the same job definition, it would just cause confusion. Okay, we had a quick look at the pop-up there, so it's just removed the ability to suppress messages going forward. So we'll have a look at this other item that we've added, which is called job role management, and this basically controls the visibility of jobs and roles to people that are using the SkillsTx planner console. By default, when we create a job or a role, it will actually be defaulted to hidden, so the hidden column will say yes, and then either someone in HR or whoever's in control of the administrative console can come in here and set them to be visible, so changing them hidden from yes to no, and then when people log into the planner console, they'll see those jobs available to be either their current or future job. Obviously, the very basic way of controlling publication of jobs, so it means you can create them in advance, review them, maybe create new versions, and then make them visible when you're happy that they're a valid job or role definition. The other thing, just while we're looking at the console, I said we've changed the workflow. And what we've done, we've moved the relevant reports into the relevant section. So if I want reports for self-assessments, they now sit here. And the only thing currently that I've got in reporting is corporate reports, which makes sense for it to be at the end here, and the Q and log audit trail. So again, just designed to make it a little bit more in line with the sort of sequence of events within an assessment. And as always, you can obviously navigate around anyway. We'll now just go back to the presentation, and we'll just have a look at a couple more slides that show us what we've done in terms of some validation in the planner console. So we allow an individual to have up to 3 versions of their self-assessed skills profile, but if they, subsequent to having 3, if they then try to create a new one within the same month or within 30 days, then it will just pop up a little warning that says, are you sure you want to create a new version? This is really just to, put a little bit of control so we haven't got people literally playing around creating version after version. The rate of skill acquisitions normally wouldn't be that you'd be creating new profiles every week, for example. Ultimately, we will probably put some parameter control around that. Initially, it's just a warning. You can override it, but it just stops people, I say, it makes them think before they just create a new profile. And then within the console, if you deactivate a user account, and they subsequently try to log in, they'll be presented with the message informing them of that and advising that they contact their leadership skills, or if necessary they can maybe contact us and we can point them in the right direction. So just talking of that, we'll just have a quick look at the additional fields as they look in the actual console. And obviously we've amended the upload template as well to reflect this, so certainly do not use the old upload template. You'll be missing a lot of functionality, so download the latest version for future uploads. You can see here now I've got a horizontal scroll because of all the additional fields. Gives you an ability to filter when maybe you just want to run one team, one business unit through the assessment initially before everyone else. So a very easy way of selecting them for allocation. And we've moved the active button or toggle to the first column now, which is a more natural place for it to be. So just talking of the use of that, if we go into assigning people for self-assessment, we currently display the normal columns, but if I click on the column button, I've now got all the other ones available to me, so I can use them for filtering and selecting just groups of people for assessment rather than everybody. Okay, so that really covers all the features in this release. So as always, hopefully you'll find that useful, and in fact I've just got one other slide that we'll just have a quick look at. As I mentioned, we've made some changes to the reporting, so what you'll notice in the header of reports, like an individual report, we've now included the version number and the date it was created. So if people do create new versions of their profile, it'll actually reflect that when you run a report. So that's the final feature to cover. I say, as always, if there's any questions, just drop me an email, and we'll keep you informed of the actual release, but currently looking likely towards the end of this week, commencing the 17th. Okay, have fun, and I'll speak to you when we do the next release preview.